I'm Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
I'm Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter.
This is Mike. You can find me at I am Mike White on Twitter.
And this is the Obsessive Viewer Podcast. How's it going, guys? We're here in studio for the first time, all three of us.
It is.
Yeah.
History in the making.
It is history.
Yes.
It's a special day. We've been waiting for this for 3 seasons now.
Yes.
Well, two and then like an episode or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
And usually I'm recording at home, and I'm wearing so much more clothes than I usually wear when we do podcasts.
So are we.
Yeah. So along with my first time in studio with you guys, I brought a friend with me.
Yes.
I'm Rob. Yeah.
Are you on Twitter?
I not for this kind of stuff.
Okay. Good answer.
Nice.
So I brought my friend Rob here today because he is one of the few people I know my age who is a father. And today we're talking about Pixar, Disney and Pixar movies. Well, Pixar movies. And I thought it would be interesting to get the perspective of a young dad and kind of, you know, we all watched these movies growing up and we experienced them first time. And I just thought it would be interesting to see his perspective and what it's like to watch them several times when you watch them with a child.
Right. And thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, no
It's
problem.
Great.
No problem.
Great to have you. I mean, we've met like several times in the past and gone to a convention or two. And your wife is helping me with this new side project that we're going to have launching soon. It's a book review website under the Obsessive banner. It's a whole new website. It'll come out soon. So if you're into books, keep a lookout for that. I'll give more details as it approaches, but I'm really looking forward to it, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I know she's really looking forward to it. I mean, that she talks about it a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Like, I'll send her like a long email just about plans for it and everything, and then she'll be like, "Okay, well, I'm not getting any work done."
Oh, so you know other people too. I didn't know you did that with other people. Just kidding.
I had to get the quarterly email out to the troops.
Right.
Yeah.
Another quarter in the black.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a long one. So, Matt, do you want to explain format-wise what we're talking about today? How we're going to talk about Pixar?
Yeah, totally. Today we're going to be talking about the Pixar movies, and we're basically going to go through chronologically and kind of discuss each one. Some will spend more time on than others, but it'll be fun to get everyone's opinions about the movies and about our origins with the movie and our memories of seeing the movie. And for Rob and for even me, because I have nephews, seeing the movies multiple times. So yeah, it should be fun. So we'll get started with that. But first, I wanted to mention that you can find us online at obsessiveviewer.com. Is the blog we have a bunch of content on there for you guys to read. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, as mentioned before, and Google Plus and all that stuff. And you can send us an email if you'd like at ovpodcast@gmail.com. You can send whatever you like, feedback, all that stuff. So without further ado, why don't we get started on the discussion, guys?
Sure.
Sounds
the
good.
year is 1995. The highest grossing animated film of all time is The Lion King. But wait. A little company called Pixar decided to come out with a movie called Toy Story.
Yes.
Do we need a description? Has anybody not seen Toy Story?
Really?
There's no way.
No.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them now.
Right.
It kind of became an instant classic.
Yeah.
To me, right off the bat.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you guys saw the movie? Did you see it in theaters?
I did.
Me too.
I might have. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Don't remember?
I have no clue.
I was 8.
Yeah.
I remember being terrified of Sid. Like,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
legitimately terrified.
Even
I just-
and people joke about the way the humans look.
Mm-hmm.
Even the kid who wasn't Sid, I can't,
Andy?
Andy.
Right.
It's written on It's written on Woody's shoe. I should have known. Yeah. But anyway, even Andy was kind of creepy, people would say, just because the animation, it was the company was in its infancy. So
that was the world before the Polar Express.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's funny that you mentioned Sid, because I have a friend who she just mentioned today that she was like Sid was like her favorite character, which is kind of strange.
You may need to reevaluate your friendship.
I know. Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Just kidding.
So yeah, I think that was an interesting thing to hear someone say.
Do you just on the fly? I guess I can't ask you guys to rank it, but would you call Toy Story one of your favorites?
I would,
because looking at the list, it is probably my favorite.
Okay, it's definitely in my top 3.
It's not my favorite of Pixar movies.
No,
I'll say that. Yeah,
I definitely can't put it up there either.
Interesting.
Yeah, we were actually talking about it before the show. What is it you don't like about Toy Story? I even mentioned it yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, Toy Story!
Wow,
Toy Story!"
Wow.
I'll be honest with you. Half of the time, Woody is getting a bad rap. Like the whole time. Like I always get into that. I mean, I feel bad for the guy because he is. I mean, he's a normal guy, and then like Buzz comes in acting all one-upping everything in the world. Like that's the whole show.
Yeah,
and I don't know who here actually likes one-uppers overall. So I mean, like, he's the hero or one of the heroes, and you're like, yeah, he's one-upping the entire time.
That's a good point, but that's one of the brilliant parts of the movie, in my opinion, is the fact that Buzz is basically delusional. And so he sees himself as this like ultimate leader. He's a military kind of guy, so of course he's going to try to take the reins regardless. So I mean, that's true that he is a one-upper, but I guess that's just his nature, and he doesn't know any better. So I'll defend him that way.
I can give you that.
That's a really good point, though. I hadn't really thought of that.
There's good character growth there because he becomes a toy pretty much from that. But in terms of favorite Pixar movies, for me, because I'm a huge Pixar fanboy, there's just been so many good ones that just Toy Story falls by the wayside a little bit. I mean, it's a great movie, and I would even say that Toy Story 3 beats it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They have yet to release a bad movie.
Right.
You know, I mean, Toy Story 2, though.
That's not a bad movie, I don't think.
I'll be honest with you. I think the reason why I started to just completely fall out of love with the concept of Toy Story, first of all, that there's 3 of them. Second of all, I can't stand the fact that they switched to the bad guy being a toy. Like, in the second one, it's... I mean, humans are inherently bad, or can be bad,
right?
But it's a toy; it's an inanimate object. Why does it have such? Why is it so evil? I don't understand that.
Oh, that's a good point.
It is a good point. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Tough times, man. That's why. Even toys have tough times.
But the toys do have personalities, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
they do.
Yeah.
And I guess we gave them those personalities. I guess.
True.
I mean,
true. And I mean, they're basically they have the same consciousness that we. I mean, I guess maybe they don't have the same consciousness, but. They got no hunger. Right. That's true. The influence is different.
They do have a little bit of hunger. I mean, Woody was all about Bo Peep. You know what I'm
saying? That's awesome.
No, but that's a good point. I never really considered that because it brings up interesting kind of philosophical questions about toys. I guess which is weird to say, but it's also kind of it's an interesting perspective on it that I hadn't considered.
Plus, the whole, I mean, basically the prospector's he kind of goes psycho. I mean, you have whole psychosis there when you keep something caged up like that has a personality and is a thinking being, if you will. But you have a good point, though. I mean, if you also think about it at the base level, if you got toys walking around and moving on their own, who here is not going to be losing it? I mean, why is this toy just walk across the room? I mean, True. I know they don't do it when you see them, but when things move in your room, it's not a good thing. Right.
Oh, that'd be interesting if there was like an alternate universe where Pixar made like these really gritty like live action or like really gritty movies where it's like just humans reacting to these inanimate objects becoming like having life. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut that out. No, but it's it's an interesting perspective on that, and I hadn't really, thought about it like that. And the third one has the same thing, kind because that makes the first one unique. But let's get back to Toy Story 2 real quick. You mentioned that you didn't like it, Rob, and it's interesting the way that it was made, because that was like the one movie that they were just really under the gun about. Like they had there was something like they were really stressed for time. It was originally going to be like a straight to DVD thing, but then it ended up being like a full blown movie, and then they had like X amount of time to do it. And it was a considerably shorter amount of time, and they just had a bunch of stuff. There's I think it's the Pixar story that's on. No, it's not. It might be in the Pixar story in Netflix Instant, but they talk about how like a guy almost lost his family because he was overworked with working on Toy Story 2.
Wow!
And I think he actually almost left his kid in the car in like 90-degree weather because he was so exhausted from working on Toy Story 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wow.
So it was just a really
making
stressful
a movie for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
So it was just a really stressful time for Pixar for that. And
wasn't it that Disney was pressuring Pixar to release it in screens? I feel like Pixar wanted it to be direct to DVD.
That might be the case.
And Disney was saying, no. We're putting this out wide release.
Right.
I don't know.
That might be the case. I'm not sure.
Which I feel like that rush right there, doesn't that hurt the brand? I mean,
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah. Especially with it was their third movie because they did A Bug's Life before that.
Yeah.
How does Toy Story 2 look? I watched Toy Story about a year ago, maybe even less than that, maybe 6 months ago, and it's not as crisp as I remember it. This particularly in textures in the background, the animation. They just kind of, I don't want to say they slip on the animation, but clearly they didn't spend as much time on that as they did in future years. But
did you watch it on Blu-ray?
I did, yeah.
Huh.
Interesting. I haven't seen it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I own all except for Cars and Cars 2, just because I haven't gotten around to it yet, on Blu-ray. I think they look fantastic, but I don't really critique them that closely.
I think if you line them all up, obviously the newest or the most recent ones look amazing, but it's almost like it's a graphics race.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny, they want to make them look as real as possible, but they're cartoons.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's one of Pixar was kind of the pioneer of that hyper real CGI animation stuff, and I love that it started with toys. I think that's so awesome.
Yeah.
That it's toys.
That's
and
cool.
not people, and surely that's the idea. And of course, there are very few humans in any of the movies. I think The Incredibles was the first one that was about humans.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just cool to see the different types of creatures and whatever they used for protagonists.
Yeah.
The fictional fantasy things.
Matt, you were talking about how it would be cool to have that creepy Toy Story.
Right.
Have you seen Alma, the digital short?
No.
It's really creepy. I don't want to say anything about it.
Okay.
To give away, because it's like 3.5 minutes long.
Right.
You can YouTube it.
Okay.
It's the creepiest thing, and it's got the toy part that makes it super creepy.
That's awesome.
Cool.
It's called Alma.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I keep meaning to get the digital shorts collections, but yeah.
No. Well, you guys have anything else to say about Toy Story?
No. I mean, do you guys want to run through the whole trilogy, or just do?
Let's go. Let's keep going chronologically with Pixar.
Okay. Yeah.
The year is 1998. John Lasseter, coming off of his success with Toy Story, directed A Bug's Life.
Yes.
Which is probably one of the ones I've seen the least.
I
same.
feel like everyone has seen that kind of the least.
Yeah.
Least memorable, maybe?
Yeah, and it's kind of a shame. I think everyone's seen A Bug's Life kind of the least. I feel like it kind of gets not a bad rap, but kind of forgotten.
Yeah.
Because it's wedged between the two Toy Story movies in the chronological order.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it only grossed a couple of million more dollars, which 3 years later, 3 years later, is you wouldn't call it a success.
Right.
You know what I mean? You would hope for
much of a
exponential growth.
Right.
Growth.
However, in A Bug's Life, it gets gross. Like, I mean, some of the, like, you get down into the flies, they're eating poop, and like they get real with some of that stuff. And it's like, oh, I don't want to be on this level with the bugs. That's just
right.
Yeah.
And as someone who's kind of an insectophobe or whatever, such as myself, it is kind of gross to think that. But they also, I mean, the animation kind of made it a little more cheeky and all that. But it's still that underlying factor, like, okay, if I see, a bug or something, I'm not going to think, oh, that has a life or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm killing it.
It was also the same year that Ants came out, and I think that might have hurt.
I liked Ants.
Yeah, I feel like I remember preferring Ants.
Yeah. I didn't, because, I mean, I was a Pixar...
Because it was not Pixar.
Yeah. No, but I just didn't like Ants, because I don't even remember hardly any of it. I thought that it was just kind of forced. I always had that.
I think maybe I saw Ants first. I remember that.
Oh, wow.
I saw Ants first, and then when I saw Bug's Life, I thought to myself, they're just trying to copy what Ants did. I mean, I know it took like months of right. but I just remember coming out and thinking, Ants was already here.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you know what? Timeline? I'm probably completely wrong. It's just how it happened for me.
Right. It's the story, or I mean, I don't know how confirmed it is or anything, but they say that someone from Pixar either jumped ship or someone tipped off DreamWorks and was like, hey, they're making a movie about bugs. And then DreamWorks was like, oh, let's do that too. And they made Ants. And that, I don't know how. I have no sources, so take that with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm. That would be awesome. I mean, it's the great digital bug race, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And that was kind of, it was kind of mimicked. It's been mimicked throughout all of cinema history. Like, I mean, with last year was the great White House destruction movie race. With,
Olympus Has Fallen.
White House Down. Yeah. But that happens throughout history, I guess, of movies. But most memorable with Bug's Life and Ants.
Right.
So what did we think about A Bug's Life? I liked it. The main character is voiced by Dave Foley, who I think has a really good speaking voice for that role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention the villain is played by Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Which is very, very distinctive. Mm-hmm. But it's a good movie, kind of a send-up of like kind of The Magnificent Seven and Seven Samurai. Kind of, it's almost a remake of that.
Mm-hmm. Didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just haven't seen it in so long. I don't, and I'm pretty sure I'm confusing Ants and Bug's Life.
Yeah,
because didn't Woody Allen do the main voice in Ants?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just can't remember.
Was Hopper in Bug's Life or Ants?
Bug's Life.
Bug's Life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And Hayden Panettiere did a voice.
She did. She played Princess Ada. No, was it Princess Ada?
I don't know.
No, that might be Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
She played Dot.
She played Dot.
She played the baby.
Was Ada.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that pre? That's pre Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Which is Remember the Titans probably 99,
99, yeah.
2000 maybe.
That makes me feel
2000.
so old.
It does.
Me too. Yeah, so I don't know. Do we really need to say anything more about A Bug's Life?
The year is 1999. There have been a lot of talks recently about Pixar and how some people are kind of tiring of the fact that all they're doing is sequels recently. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I guess when I was younger, it seemed like a lot longer to wait 4 years for a sequel to Toy Story 2. But the third movie Pixar ever did was a sequel. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But then we already talked about how it was kind of a rush job, but I mean...
True. Yeah. You're right.
Riding the coattails of the original, what made them big.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Yeah.
I feel like it might have been pressure from Disney. Well, Disney didn't own them yet, but I think they
no, that's not till 2006, but we'll get into that.
Yeah. But I think they were just kind of... I think Toy Story 2 was originally going to be... Or I might be confusing it with Toy Story 3. It was originally going to be a direct-to-DVD movie, like I said, but it was going to be like a Disney-only thing. That might be Toy Story 3 now that I think about it. But anyway, I feel like they were under pressure to do that, to do a sequel, maybe because A Bug's Life didn't perform to their liking.
Because Ants took over, right?
Right.
Yeah. DreamWorks. Was Ants DreamWorks?
Yeah.
That sounds right, yeah. But with I think the reason why I kind of defend Toy Story 2 is that I feel like Pixar has always been really good with, even though these movies are made for kids mostly, they're really good about putting stuff in there for adults to enjoy,
Yeah.
like especially dialogue, and they will reference things that are a little bit more adult oriented, like the kids might not even get, and I think they're really good at that. But I feel like with Toy Story 2, they really hit it out of the park. I think that was like, because I remember I was only 12 or 13 when that came out, but I had seen Toy Story and the other movies as a 7 or 8 year old or whatever, so I felt more adult, I guess, watching this one, and it just the adult stuff was so much more funny to me than the stuff for the kids.
Yeah.
Are you sure Disney? Are you sure Disney didn't already have them when that? Because that's been like every Disney movie you see these days. Like there's some.
It was a joint venture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I was going to say
it was Disney
like,
fronting them money, but they
Yeah.
didn't own Pixar.
I think like
Pixar
Disney
was
like
stingy.
distributed it or something.
Right. Yeah. Toy Story 2 hit me at a weird time in 99 or 98. I had just moved to Indiana, and everything in my life was different, and I was so resistant to being, away from Chicago. And Toy Story 2 was like a big deal when it came out, but I remember seeing it and thinking, oh, this is just like a copy of the first one. Nothing in my life is the same anymore. I'm in Indiana. Toy Story 2 wasn't as good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it didn't, well, I mean, I guess you were young, so it didn't resonate with you, the whole Jessie cowgirl thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
No.
her losing your friends or anything.
No.
wasn't that 3?
No. That was the second one.
Second one was one the eBayer or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I got them reversed then. I
really?
was thinking 3 was the one with Buzz's old nemesis or whatever his name was. Or no, 2 was Buzz's nemesis, and then 3
Yeah.
was...
Well, 2 had Kelsey Grammer did the voice of the Prospector.
Okay.
Yeah, he was kind of the villain, but it was also kind of the villain was Circumstance. And
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I remember playing the video game more than anything with Toy Story 2.
oh, really?
Yeah,
I never played it.
and do you know what else? I'm also, even to this day, we all know Matt is a Pixar fanboy.
Yes.
I'm really not much of an animated film lover. I like them, but Toy Story 2 was at a time where when you're 12 and 13, that stuff doesn't matter.
Right.
And especially like that summer, I think I was still high on Star Wars Episode 1.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
right.
So,
Okay. Should we move on to
the year. The year is 2001. They took a 2-year break, and at the time, A Bug's Life made a little bit more money than Toy Story. Toy Story 2 made yet a little bit more, and then Monsters, Inc., I think,
yes.
really put Pixar on the... Well, I mean, Toy Story put Pixar on the map,
Right.
but
Yeah.
Monsters, Inc. was huge
Yeah.
when that came up in 2001. Monsters, Inc. made $562 million,
Wow.
$562.8 million in 2001.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've never seen it.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Whoa.
We should have watched it. This
Yeah.
just the
Oh, man.
I can't say because Sophie's way too young to really even pick a movie, but Monsters, just the Monsters U and Monsters Inc. She loves it. Just I mean,
Wow. Nice.
she is all about monsters. She thinks they're the coolest thing.
That's awesome.
And to be honest with you, because that movie exists, I'm not looking under her bed and in her closet. Like she doesn't care. She's like,
That's
Wow.
awesome.
That is
That's
cool.
great.
Yeah.
For our listeners, Sophie is 3 years old.
yes,
Correct?
yes.
Okay. She has good taste. Monsters, Inc. is my favorite of all the Pixar movies.
Yeah, she
Nice.
loves it.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of
Oops.
mine. No, that's also one of the ones I have my earliest memories of it. I mean, it's a stupid memory, but I just remember watching it, having not seen it, but watching it in like some class in high school. Like just it was ceramics. So like we just had like downtime, and I was like watching it. I was like, oh, this is a really good movie, and that may have been like kind of my introduction to Pixar, because not necessarily my introduction to Pixar, but kind of like I knew about Toy Story and Toy Story 2.
Your introduction to Pixar as a studio, as a
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
Right.
exactly, as a brand.
Gotcha.
And then I loved it, and then also I think a couple years later we watched Finding Nemo. And, yeah.
Rob, will Sophie watch an entire movie?
No, not at all. I mean, 15 minutes.
Oh yeah,
And then
Oh,
she's
wow.
off doing something else. I mean, but she'll come back 15 minutes later. She's back staring at it. I mean,
For 15 minutes at a time?
yeah. So, I mean, really, it's just totally up back and forth, constant. I mean, I try to keep her interested, but it's just she doesn't have that attention span yet.
Yeah.
Do you have like set time limits on how much time she can watch TV or anything like that?
Luckily with her, I don't have to. We read to her a lot.
That's good.
And so she doesn't. She likes television, but she really doesn't make it. Really? It doesn't rule her.
See, that's good because I'm always like, because I have nephews, and I'm always like, are they watching too much stuff? Because I mean, they basically just, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
She'll pick a book over television every day, which I think I'm blessed to even not have to deal with that.
Right.
I'm sure that will change at some point, but
that's
right
great.
now I'm just going to relax and let the book thing keep on.
Nice.
Welcome to the Obsessive Parenthood podcast. Just kidding.
That's next February.
No, but it's interesting about the whole kid thing because you said that she loves Monsters Inc. and Monsters University, and we'll get into like I'm sure her opinions about how she feels about other Pixar movies. But like I said, I have nephews, and they recently watched Paranorman, which if you've seen Paranorman, that's not really a good appropriate movie for a young age.
No,
and
it's also not very funny.
Really? I've only seen bits and pieces of it, but it looks like terrifying.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen that one, and it's because it's Tim Burton.
Okay.
And
no,
isn't it?
Tim Burton was the Frankenweenie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Both of those.
Same year, same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Both of those racing to get out. I felt that they were too dark, and to be honest with you, there's been enough movies and parenthood and lack of time that I just didn't even see those.
Yeah, it's from what I've seen, it's terrifying. And my nephews, I don't know how my sister's going to feel about me mentioning this, but my nephews have started, and they kind of growl like zombies a little bit.
Awesome.
And it's so creepy. It's so creepy. And like my youngest nephew, Landon, he was in the hospital because he had a respiratory infection. He's fine now and everything, but he was like, the doctor was speaking to my sister, and I was there too. And then Landon just looked at him, and he was like, it was so awesome. But like, my sister was really embarrassed and all that. So it's funny to see, to kind of segue back to Pixar. Does Sophie like react to like Monsters Inc. or anything like that in that way?
Well, I've taught her that I'm the king of. I've taught her that I'm the king of all monsters. Oh, so nice. First of all, that was my step one before we watched that, because I wasn't, just in case she reacted not in the manner I had hoped she'd react to it, I could fall back on that.
That's a good idea.
But by lineage, she has now decided she's the princess of monsters.
That's so awesome.
So really, she is in total control of that world. Like
that's really cool.
That's
such a good dad.
Yeah. I'm trying to. And the growling thing. The funny thing, I teach her to do that, because when the zombie apocalypse does come,
yes,
she can just blend in. She'll just wipe some dirt on herself and just
nice.
That's great.
Tiny, why is Monsters your favorite?
It's an interesting dynamic. Just these, like you said that they don't really do movies about humans, and who would have thought that you could connect so much with a monster? Yeah. And plus Mike Wazowski has an awesome Polak name, and I'm Polish. Totally. But I really love John Goodman. He's one of my favorite actors. And I love Billy Comedy's
Billy Comedy's Crystal.
Billy Crystal's comedy. I love that they were able to let those two actors do their thing, even in such an interesting context, something that they're not used to doing. And it just works so well. They were so great together. And then even though you have this little girl who never really says a word, I mean, just a couple words, but it's just gibberish for the most part. There you go. So yeah, it's just so interesting they were able to make such deep, rich characters in that context. Nice. And it's just such an incredible story. It's just the brilliance behind it. Mm-hmm. They created this whole other universe. It was so cool. I actually find it's interesting. We were talking about how in Toy Story, how the people, like all the people, look extremely creepy. Boo
was adorable.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was no creep factor on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I remember when like you and I, Robbie, when we first met, and like Mike and Amanda were in town, and we were all hanging out at your house. But I remember it was funny because I sent out a tweet, just a random tweet, because Sophie was there, and I was like, this kid, Mike's friend's daughter, just reminds me so much of Boo from Monsters Inc. And then I just sent it out, and then I didn't realize I think you guys like requested to follow me on Twitter, and I was like, oh, they're gonna see that, they're gonna think I'm creepy. What the hell?
They're gonna know I'm creepy.
They already thought you were creepy.
Yeah.
we definitely discussed the creep factor of Matt.
The year is 2003. Is there anything else you guys want to say about Monsters?
I think we covered it. I mean, I loved it. That's about it.
Yeah. Okay. So 2003, Finding Nemo. As a teacher, I do this project at the beginning of the year where we just talk about plot. It's super easy, but we'll do, you talk about exposition, the rising action, the climax, and the denouement, right? And so I do an example with Star Wars, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I start. The first example I give is with The Lion King. Okay. And I do it like you can chart the plot points by the songs.
Oh, that's cool.
Right?
Interesting.
Yeah. And then I say, okay, we're going to do this, and now I'm going to do one without giving you specific details. And you guys are going to have to guess what movie it is. And then I do Star Wars.
Okay.
Nice.
Right.
Can I sit in on this class?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. We have fun with that one.
Nice.
So then I have the students do one, and they get into groups. And I have had to ban Finding Nemo as an option.
Wow.
Because without fail, I kid you not, one group in each class, every time I do it, will do Finding Nemo.
Wow.
So much so that I've had classes where there's 5 groups, and 3 of them secretly, independently, picked Finding Nemo as their movie.
Oh, wow.
It's seriously crazy. I've been doing the project for 5 years.
Wow.
And one group in every class will do Finding Nemo as their
That
movie.
just must mean it speaks to that many people.
It is.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is they're sophomores who were born, this year the sophomores were born in 98.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were 3, 5. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at Monsters. Yeah, they were 5 when that came out.
So they were watching for a half hour at a time.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because it means as much to them as Lion King and Aladdin means to me.
Right.
Wow.
You know? So Finding Nemo is the most popular movie amongst high school sophomores.
Which is funny because Finding Nemo, that is another. I mean, Sophie hasn't seen all of these, but if you don't know that starts out with the mother dying, kind of like Bambi, explaining that to a 3-year-old, like the whole time we just said she went away. Like we couldn't.
Wow.
I couldn't even figure out. I still haven't been able to figure out how to explain death and that
That's
to her. I'm hoping that I'm not. I mean, she's 3, so I feel like I probably still have a little time for that. But
Right.
But like that, just literally the first 10 minutes of that.
Wow.
And then the next 20, she was just asking, "Where's Nemo's mommy?" The whole every 5 minutes, it was just constant.
Wow.
It was like, she's away. She's at the store.
Nice.
She's just getting some groceries. It's no big deal.
wow.
But yeah, it's such
Well, daughter, you know how mommy is breathing and smiling? Nemo's mommy's not doing that anymore.
It honestly, like, you have no idea how like terrifying it is to have to try to explain that.
Yeah.
I'm
can't
not
imagine.
looking forward to that. Honestly, I am more looking forward to sex talks and all that garbage than explaining death. I mean, that just...
Well, let movies do it for you.
Yeah.
Don't let her listen to this episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Definitely will not let her listen to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting though, because I don't have kids or anything, so I don't know how I would teach them about that. That's such a weird concept to teach a human being about the end of the end of their life that they're going to die.
Yeah, the handful of things that we all experience. Period.
Yeah.
Like there's no getting around it. We experience it. It's. I mean, I'm sure at some point me and Lauren are going to have to start Googling how to tell your child about death. I mean,
Jeez.
Right. Yeah. Buy him a pet.
We have 3 of those. Oh, we have one we have an old
Get him a pet that dies quick.
Yeah, who's knocking on the door.
We have like a 16, 17-year-old lab, so that might be, unfortunately.
Secret.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of kids learn about death, though. Their pet dies.
I guess
true.
that makes sense.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember
so
how I
good luck
learned
with
about
that.
death.
Me neither. That's maybe I should ask. I guess I should ask my parents how they explained it to me. That's probably the first place to start.
Yeah. My brother learned about death from a goldfish.
Same here.
My brother was an interesting kid. My mom found, little Swimmy. We had 2 fish, Swimmy and Joe, and Swimmy was floating at the top of the bowl. So she got it with the yellow plastic ladle and was like, well, Kevin.
His name is now Bob.
Swimmy. Yeah. Swimmy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make light of this.
It's okay.
Serious situation.
Well, I'm about to make light of it. Kevy, Swimmy died, so we're going to have to flush him down the toilet. And Kevin's, okay. So they go into the bathroom, and then she, flips the thing and lets the fish fall in the toilet, and she's like, do you want to flush it? He goes, yeah. He flushes the toilet, and as it's swimming around, he goes, little bastard.
Wow.
Oh, that's great.
That's hilarious.
You're my fish, Swimmy.
I thought you were going to say he went to the beer and or he went to the fridge and cracked open a beer.
Yeah, one for my homies.
For my homies.
Poured it out.
That might have been how my sister learned, too.
Huh. Cracking out a beer on the ground. Goldfish? I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
It's dark. It's really dark.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great movie. It's probably my favorite Pixar movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm committing to it.
Nice.
I can't commit to that, but the shark. I can't remember what it's called when they're all in their meeting.
Oh yeah, the
AA meeting.
Yeah,
or the.
I don't know if they ever named it.
Cannibals Anonymous or something.
Yeah.
They're just that cracked me up. I mean,
it was awesome.
Their eyes go black. I mean,
the plot of it is just really good. I mean, it's really. It flows really well. All the movies kind of have a good rhythm and all that, but this one kind of was really good. I mean, it was really well plotted out and well told. The story was.
It had a current to it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Always.
No, but it was. I loved how it mixed between the ocean of Marlin swimming to find Nemo, and then Nemo in the dentist's aquarium. I thought that was just a good way to balance out the story, to show both of those. And then one of my favorite lines of it was it's after Marlin has rushed to find Nemo, and his word of his adventures are getting around the ocean, and then there's a montage or this clip of different sea creatures telling the story. And so there's a clip of I don't remember what exactly they were, but there was a huge fish, and then this little tiny shrimp or something, and the little shrimp says he has a very deep voice or something, and he's like yeah, so I told him it, so Marlin's going to find Nemo, and he's going to do that, and then the big fish just says, golly, that's amazing. And it kills me every time.
That's awesome. The movie has an incredible cast too.
Oh yeah.
I know my favorite actress is in it, Allison Janney, and then isn't Willem Dafoe in it too? He's one of the aquarium.
Yeah, he's Gil.
Right, and I think a lot of the American public had forgot about Ellen DeGeneres, until this movie. I'd forgotten about her basically, and she's just absolutely hilarious in it.
Oh, she's
fantastic.
Really, definitely.
That's actually a good caveat. Bringing what Mike brought to the table at the beginning with his class, and everybody always picks that because that's the generation. I still can't believe Finding Dory is coming out summer of 2016.
I know.
Shouldn't they wait a little longer? Wait just long enough so that those kids that you're talking about are having kids. And then it's
interesting.
Now I have something to watch with my kids that reminds me of my childhood.
Wow. That's a good point.
That's true. They can't do it with all of them.
True.
Toy Story 3 was kind of
that
for us. I guess. Although I'd be a little old to have a kid.
Granted, with Disney, I mean, I thought
have a kid.
a lot of these movies were brand new when I was watching them. And I'm like, oh, this was made in 1985 or 81. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So, did any of you guys see it in the theater or anything?
I don't think I did. I think I've only seen it like twice, maybe. Wow. I just haven't seen it that many times.
Yeah, I didn't see it in theaters.
I don't think I've seen any of these movies in theaters.
Oh, wow.
Maybe Toy Story 1.
Okay.
I definitely saw Toy Story 1. I think that's it.
I feel like I may have seen Finding Nemo in theaters.
Lauren, now listening to this, would be able to tell me exactly every one of these that I probably saw. Nice. She's like, come on, you saw this one with me? And yeah,
Going back to Monsters, Inc., I forgot. I did watch it in the theater when it came out in 3D last year. It was funny because I've been referencing my nephews, and my nephew was born January 8th of last year. So I got off work, went to the hospital, saw my sister, saw the new baby, met him and all that, and then kind of just looked at my phone and was like, the theater right down the street, it's playing Monsters, Inc. Maybe I'll go check it out. So I went and saw Monsters, Inc. in 3D on the day my nephew was born.
At least you didn't ask your sister if you could take him with you.
Oh, yeah. That would have been bad.
Yeah.
Finding Nemo is also the third highest grossing animated feature of all time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's guess the top two. Like, is it current?
Guess.
Let's see.
Up and WALL-E have to be on there, right?
They are not the top two. They are not above Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo's number 3, like I said. What's 1 and 2? What are 1 and 2?
I'm going to go with Monsters University.
No.
Oh. I was just thinking current. Well, of course it wouldn't be.
Okay.
Cars?
No. Number 1 is Toy Story 3.
Okay.
Wow.
Really? Yeah. I'm surprised about that, too. $1 billion. And number 2 is The Lion King.
Oh, I got you.
The Lion King was an event.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, The Lion King was a happening, an American
That's
happening.
true.
And every time it plays, it's a new event. Like, you walk
totally.
into a house and it's on the television, everybody just stops like, yep.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Simba. Yeah.
Oh, Lion King!
Correction, I know your father.
Well, that's what's great about animated movies is that they're really timeless because you don't have the aging like you do with a live action movie.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was a kid, I remember watching like The Jungle Book, which came out in the 60s, classic Disney movies like that. Even I think Snow White came out in like the 50s.
Yeah.
So, stuff like that just holds up, and it even those movies even hold up today. So that's what's kind of nice about if you have kids, you can show them the movies that you loved as a kid, even though they were 20 years old when you saw them.
Yep. Right.
It's kind of cool.
And they keep getting new life as the technology evolves because they remaster them for Blu-ray and the different formats and everything. And I mean, they look pristine. The only difference is that it's a different form of animation.
Yeah.
But it still looks good.
All right, well, moving on. For the first time in Pixar's history, they went outside the company.
Yes.
To enlist Brad Bird, who actually Brad Bird pitched the movie to Pixar after he did the Iron Giant, and it's kind of got a cult following now. But the Iron Giant was a bomb.
Yeah.
Right.
I've heard it's good though. It is
good.
Yeah, it is good. I remember seeing it when it came out. So he wrote and directed The Incredibles, which came out in 2004.
Yes.
And that's one. Like I said, I wasn't a Pixar fanboy. When you were kind of coming up with like a list of movies I need to watch freshman year of college, Incredibles was one you pushed on me pretty hard.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I love the movie, but
It should be perfect for you, Mike.
I know, you would think, and I'm sure that's why. Because I love superheroes and all that stuff.
right. Maybe that's why it was because you were because I knew you were a huge comic book nerd.
Who doesn't want to be Dash? I mean, really.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or Jack, for that matter.
Yeah.
Because he's pretty much God. Once he grows up.
He's like the Incredibles God mode or whatever.
Yeah. Anybody see Incredibles in theaters?
Yes, I actually have a funny story about that. It was 2004, November 2004?
November 5th. The day that time travel was invented.
Oh, yeah.
In 1955, flux capacitor.
Nice.
Awesome.
So I remember I was working at a movie theater, and the movie theater I wasn't a fan. I don't know. I was a high school kid, so the way that the managers were operated was just weird to me. It was like my first like real job, but it just seemed just really weird how they operated. And they weren't very personable. Mm-hmm. So I basically requested off Friday night for that, so specifically so I could go see The Incredibles. And being a theater employee, I could see it for free. And I was like, I called ahead of time because that's what we do. We called and was like, hey, I would like to see this movie. And they're like, you requested it off. So if you they were kind of dicks about it. They're like, if you request it off and you can be here, you should come in and work, and we're not going to let you see the movie. And I'm like, okay, all right, okay. So I went to their competitor theater and bought my ticket. And and I was just like, all right. And I was like, maybe 2-3 weeks before I decided to quit. And then that was just something funny that happened with that.
That's a group of managers that don't understand you need me time.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Right. Wasn't The Incredibles your favorite Pixar movie for a while, Matt?
Maybe, because now that Mike mentions that it was that I pushed it on him, maybe it was. I loved how different it was from the other Pixar movies, because it was very like we said, it was the first like human Pixar movie,
right?
And it just
first one that wasn't written and directed by a team of people,
right?
I wonder if a singular vision has something to do with it.
Maybe.
Which, you have to imagine that Disney had a little say,
sure,
a lot of say,
Yeah.
in what happened. But it is interesting that it is the first,
Yeah, it's funny we mentioned sequels and how people kind of ride Pixar for going into sequels, but The Incredibles is primed for a franchise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which I wonder if Brad Bird has something to do with that. Maybe he doesn't want to come back to it, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's off doing his own thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't even want to see The Incredibles. I want to see people in the world of The Incredibles, like Frozone. Like I want to see more of his life, or when they were in their heyday. I want to see all of the different superheroes.
That'd be awesome.
They were at that. The woman's house who designs all the superhero costumes. I don't remember her name.
Edna.
Yeah. I mean, she just went through a list of like Dino Man cape caught in a turban.
Yeah.
Like we could go through all of them and just, okay, how about 50 digital shorts with
that would be awesome.
each
That
superhero?
would be cool.
That's nice. That's awesome.
I would buy that Blu-ray collection.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
How was the response to that? Did it make a lot of money? What was the gross?
It was good. It's not nearly as successful as Finding Nemo.
Right.
Again, I don't know if it was a disappointment. Finding Nemo again made $936.7 million. The Incredibles made $631.
It's not bad. I mean,
It's not bad, right?
Is it?
It'll pay the bill.
That's what the podcast brings in, right?
About
like each
that.
one?
Yeah. But I also am kind of looking here, and I think that's when DreamWorks started coming up, and Ice Age and Madagascar were kind of giving those movies run for their money.
That's right. There was a kind of a big push for animated movies because Pixar kind of held the corner, or held the
cornered the market.
Corner of the market. There you go. Thank you, Tony. They cornered the market on animated movies until
Shrek 2.
Yeah.
$919 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Which is number 5.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a bit of an anti-hero, though. Shrek.
With Shrek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Grumpy old ogre saves the day.
Awesome Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't do a Scottish. Not yet, at least.
Yes.
I'm going to need you to work on that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I will.
Nice.
Okay, so The Incredibles, they kind of took 2 years off in a summer, and then in 2006, Cars was released.
Now,
Boo.
Right. We have a divisive discussion here.
Really?
I think so. Well, I mean, for me and Tiny at least.
Yeah.
Because I love Cars. What did you guys think of it?
It's great, and 3-year-old loves it.
Nice.
One reason, she sees cars everywhere.
Yeah.
So now
Is
she
that
sees
Lightning McQueen?
She sees a life in. Nice. I mean, my current vehicle is named Ursula. She sees a life in the vehicle now because of that.
Ka-chow!
That's great. Although I kind of, I kind of wonder how kids respond to that. Or I don't know. As an adult, when I see cars, I think how do they reproduce? I have no idea how that functions at all.
Well, when a daddy car and a mommy car love each other very much,
they visit a body shop.
Or a junkyard if they want to adopt. Jesus.
Awesome.
That's stupid.
No, that's great.
Cars 3.
No, it's just a weird kind of thing about it. But I love the movie. I don't know. I've lived in Speedway for a lot of years, for a majority of my life, and so I kind of love this kind of small town kind of thing. Even though Speedway has the Indianapolis 500, but it's kind of the small town atmosphere, and I've always been just attracted to that. And I love the idea of Route 66 and the lost communities and lost places that kind of occupy it. So I love
The Hills Have Eyes.
Sort of. No, but I love just Radiator Springs is just I love seeing that and seeing how they romanticize its past and how they work to build up the future, and how obviously any fish out of water story like with Lightning McQueen, right? Yeah.
No, Nemo was a fish.
Nemo. Anyway, anything like that. Nah, it's fine. Anything like that. It's just it's a cool story, and it's. I love the growth of the character, kind of like Buzz, but more extreme. In that it's he believes he's something, or he knows he's something, but then he grows to.
Well, why don't you like cars?
Yeah, why don't you like cars?
I can't believe you just compared Lightning McQueen to Buzz Lightyear. It's not that I necessarily don't like cars. It's just that I wasn't real crazy about it, and Matt loved it, and so for so long, car sucks.
Yeah,
when I really don't think it sucks. It's a decent movie. I really don't like. Wilson, the actor.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. I said Luke Wilson. This is his brother. I just don't like his performance in it, which is weird. It's a voice performance, but obviously there's nuance to it. It's not like they're just talking. I just don't like his performance in it. I wasn't a fan of it, and he's the main character. I will say though, it does have one of my favorite Pixar jokes ever. It's where the car that drives him around, or the truck that drives him around, is named Mac, and at one point he's Lightning McQueen is looking for his truck, or essentially, and he goes up to this truck and he's like, "Is that you?" And it's not, and he goes, "Oh, that's so typical. I'm a Freightliner." That's one of my favorite lines ever.
Oh, that's great.
So funny, and it's probably one of the only times I've ever enjoyed Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah,
because he's awful.
Yes.
I don't know. I didn't appreciate the world. I didn't like the fact that it was just I don't know. It was a regular. It was like our regular world, our regular Earth, but it was just cars instead of humans.
Yeah.
And it's where do they get their oil? How do they get their oil? It's just, I don't know. I just.
It's a weird concept.
It is.
But I have trouble with it.
I can't attack it that much though.
Right.
It's just personally, I just wasn't as crazy about it.
I still love the setting with small towns. I mean, America. I'm not well traveled, but that has got to be an issue in America.
Oh,
Oh, definitely. Oh, absolutely.
Bypasses go in, and then cities just fall apart.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a really cool, or a really unique concept for a kids movie.
It is George Carlin's second to last movie.
That's right.
Wow.
What was his last one?
Happily Ne'er After.
It was his last movie.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I've never heard of that.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you mentioned your favorite line, I immediately thought of mine, and I'll go ahead and share it real quick. It was when when Lightning finds out that Doc has won a piston cup. He drives over to like the group of guys from Radiator Springs, and like Maynard's there, and then he's like, "Hey, did you guys know that Doc has 2 piston cups?" And then Maynard just like spits out his oil or whatever, and he's like, "He did what in his cup?" And I was like, "That is just brilliant."
That's funny.
Yeah, that is good. That is good.
So, Mike, what'd you think of Cars?
Cars is okay. It sound like a broken record. Not a big animated movie fan.
Right.
I was kind of forced to watch Cars, so I kind of enjoyed it, but reluctantly in college. It's good. I agree. I don't love Owen Wilson all that much. Mm-hmm. And really anything that Larry the Cable Guy has to do with is kind of tough for me to get into. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't call it one of my favorites at all.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and I just hate that they snuck in his catchphrase. He says "get her done" in a Pixar movie.
Movie.
He has it trademarked. He is contractually obligated to say it anytime he appears in public.
Really?
Right.
Yep.
Wow. Oh.
Because he comes on the Bob and Tom show all the time, which is based out of Indianapolis here. Right. I used to listen to it all the time, and he says that he actually has to say it.
He's got to hate it now.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure he does.
Well, that's an entire persona he's created. That's not him
know.
at all.
Yeah.
So
I broke a student's heart one time.
Oh, really?
I showed him a video of him doing stand-up in New York as just like a regular guy with a tie and a white shirt.
Yeah.
I think
telling jokes about marriage. And
I think I need to see that. Like, I would like to see.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
That.
And he's kind of funny. I mean, he's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So after Cars, in 2007, and about a year later, Ratatouille came out. Which, as an outsider, I feel like is almost as inconsequential as A Bug's Life.
Okay.
Ratatouille.
Sort of.
Right?
Yeah,
It's not...
sort of.
Like, if I was in a contest where I had to list all the Pixar movies, I would forget Ratatouille.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
It is kind of forgettable.
It is.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people really liked it that I talked to, but I didn't get that feeling out of it. I also feel like they went back to creepy people again.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And there were more, villainous, I guess. There's more villainous humans that are normal humans.
Yeah.
In that. But, I liked it. I liked it a lot because I liked the themes of it, kind of following your dreams and being able to do whatever you want or whatever you set your mind to, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. No matter your stature in life was something that it's also something they kind of go back on with Monsters University, but we'll get to that. But it was a good movie. I liked it, and I liked those things. The voice acting was solid. I love Patton Oswalt. And I thought he was great. Yeah.
One of the most egregious things about it, in my opinion, is all of the people, all the humans are French. The French ones, anyways. I know the main guy he doesn't have a French accent. I assume he's American.
Right.
But I don't know if they established that in the movie or not. But all of the rats have voices, but they're all French rats, but they all have American accents.
That's.
I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's just like if you're gonna go that route, make it universal.
Right.
That's just how I feel about
The rats came over from America.
Yeah.
Migrating rats.
it. Okay.
That's kind of... That could be.
I think we just pitched Ratatouille 2.
The travel back to France.
Yes.
It's a prequel.
The journey back.
Ratatouille.
It sells itself. Ratatouille. Right?
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah. So it was a good movie. Can't remember if I saw it in the theater, but I own it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much else to say about that one.
Although I will say this real quick. Turbo, I may have mentioned it on the podcast before. Turbo is basically, it's a DreamWorks movie.
Turbo, a Power Rangers movie?
No, that'd be awesome. But
that was a thing.
Right. No, but Turbo is the DreamWorks movie about the snail who wants to race in the Indy 500. But it's a mesh.
Is it the Indy 500?
Yeah, and it's actually it's pretty cool how they recreate
How have
it.
I not seen that?
Yeah.
And you live here.
I know.
Yeah. It's really cool the way that it is, but it's literally like it's basically like DreamWorks watched Ratatouille and Cars and was like, "Hey, let's do that."
Wow.
And it's so awkward. Yeah, but yeah, so we can move on.
Okay.
I want to call this one of the most popular Pixar movies of the bunch. In 2008, they came out with WALL-E.
Yes,
love it.
Yeah,
WALL-E.
I'm so glad it took you a second to say that, because that's how most people react.
Yeah.
Well, anything that has some type of post-apocalyptic wasteland in it, I gravitate to.
Oh, me too.
Can I say really quick? We kind of glossed over the era of 2006 and Cars, and how that was in 2006 was when Disney bought Pixar.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, like you mentioned earlier, Rob, they always worked together, right?
Yeah.
Disney was a distributor, kind of holding the hand and all that throughout. And then there were multiple times when Disney wanted to purchase Pixar.
Right.
Pixar resisted, and then finally they took their first step in world domination. And in 2006, Disney bought Cars. So anything Pixar after that is now a Disney Pixar. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Looking at this list, I can tell. Like, I can honestly tell.
Yeah.
I can tell. Ratatouille, they were still getting around the whole concept of being part of Pixar, but with WALL-E, and then after that, they just. All these newer ones, I love them.
You can tell Disney's got their hands all over them.
Yeah.
Disney's. And I wouldn't know as well as you guys who've seen them more than I have, but I would agree. There's something about the movie since, and we'll talk about some of the accolations of some of the movies in a second.
Right.
But not WALL-E. WALL-E.
Yeah.
You love WALL-E.
I love WALL-E.
Rob.
WALL-E. I'll be honest, I'm not even sure what to say about it. I mean, the post-apocalyptic thing, what all the humans have become. Like, honestly, as soon as robots start doing dishes and mowing my lawn, like, I'm going to have to work very hard not to just completely lose myself in just eating whatever I want. And, I mean, it just some of the stuff just surrounding that on the ship cracks me up. I mean, the captain. I don't understand how he's the cat. Like, and then they show the progression of the captains, like in the pictures, and it's just like, what?
Yeah,
I love that. I saw it in the theater, and it's so creepy to see a Pixar movie in a theater by yourself.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but I saw it in the theater, and it was one of those theater experiences where usually I'm tired, just generally speaking, I'm tired all the time. I'm tired right now because I work nights and I sleep odd hours. But that was one of those movies where I went to it and sat there and watched it, and it was just completely took my attention. And it's weird because I was actively fighting off sleep, but then as soon as the credits started rolling, or the movie started rolling, I was awake and I was ready to go. And it's weird because that's like a movie where like 30 minutes goes by with no dialogue, and it's just a beautiful movie.
That's the point that I was going to say. I think that's the best feature of the film is that there's 30 minutes with no dialogue. That takes an epic amount of creative capital to engage not only a normal audience but children without any dialogue. That's a feat in my opinion, and they did it brilliantly. It's so great the way that the robots emote with each other and things like that. It's a language that kids can understand, you know. And I thought it was just so brilliant the way they did it, and it was so engaging. I think a lot of people would have dropped the ball with that. Yeah, but they just hit it out of the park. That's my favorite part of the movie.
I'm in a very, very small minority of people.
No.
Who now I acknowledge that it's a good movie, right? But if there is a movie, the way you guys describe WALL-E, if there is a movie that would make me change my mind about animated features, it should be WALL-E. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
And it didn't. And I can't explain why. You know what I mean? But just something about watching 30 minutes of no dialogue is like, it's just a love affair with the animation. And it is well done. And they respect animation, and they get across what they mean to get across story-wise. But for whatever reason, I just can't buy into it because it's a cartoon. I guess because I watched cartoons so much when I was younger that they're not as legitimate to me as watching a live-action feature movie. I don't know. Something about it just doesn't do it for me. I wish I could explain it better. I know that's a horrible thing for a critic to say, is I don't know why, but...
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike White, the animated Grinch.
Yeah.
I get that, though. There's just a disconnect there.
There is.
That's understandable.
There is. Right. And I wish it wasn't the case.
Yeah.
I want to mention about them emoting, the robots emoting. I want to, like, add to that, or not add to it, but just, like, agree with it pretty much. Because or pay more attention to it, because they emote so well. I mean, it's amazing, because they don't have any, like, features that they can really emote, except like through eyes and stuff like that. But, like, there's a scene where Eve, like, when they first meet, Eve takes Wally's, like, stuff, or is, like, looking through his stuff, and Wally's showing her all the stuff, and you can see he's all excited, and he's beeping and all that. And then he hands her the tape that he watches that, like, teaches him about love and all that. Then she just like takes it and takes the stuff out, which is a concept that would probably be completely lost on kids these days.
Yeah,
ripping the whatever from a tape. But then he like goes, he grabs something, he winds it back up, and then he like puts it in the VCR, and you can see him kind of like taking it in his hands and kind of like waiting, patient, like anxiously hoping that it works.
Yeah,
it's just like that kind of thing is just so creative. Like Tiny said, it's just a really creative way to tell a story, and it's the movie at its heart. It's a robot love story, and it's something that you can't really fathom doing in that way without it being it was a Pixar movie, but it could have easily been, if anyone else made it, it would have been, that robot love story. But it became this beautiful space movie. So that's my feelings.
I've never seen a cockroach show so much emotion.
If I did, I would barricade myself, and that's the end of the world right there.
Yeah,
it's terrifying to me.
Yeah, I agree with the hands going together thing like that. I love when any movie, live action, animated, even comedians do that, when they do something that is just so real to life. And they're like, oh yeah, people do that, but movies kind of ignore little details like that for the sake of entertainment and fantasy. But I love those types of little things. So, people do that.
It adds so much to it.
It allowed them to successfully develop characters without dialogue, which again, that's an incredible feat.
Yeah. I gotta say, the people that created WALL-E also probably, and I don't have a clue what this movie was called, but from like the 80s, there's a robot movie, looks exactly like WALL-E.
Short Circuit?
Really? Short Circuit, yeah.
Johnny Five?
Johnny Five.
Yeah, just, I mean, completely.
Same voice and everything.
Yeah.
Or same octave, same register.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anything else, Wally?
I think that about covers it for WALL-E, I think.
There are 3 animated movies in history that have been nominated for Best Picture. Beauty and the Beast is one of them.
Great movie.
Yeah. Do you know what the second movie to be nominated for Best Picture was?
Probably the next on the list.
Nice. Lion King? No.
It's the next on the list. Up.
Next on the list.
Next on the chronological list.
I got you. I thought you meant that. Never mind. I'm stupid.
2009. Yeah, Up came out. Now, you could argue, we won't spend too much time on this, but you could also argue that it got nominated because of the Dark Knight factor. When I mean Dark Knight factor is in 2008. People thought Dark Knight should have been nominated for Best Picture. It wasn't, so they added the up to 10 nominations.
Right.
And then so Up was a benefactor of that switch.
Yeah.
Not to say it's undeserving.
Right.
Of a nomination.
Right.
It was probably one of the top 9 movies of that year.
Yeah.
Because there were 9 nominations, I believe.
It's 10.
It's 10 can be.
Oh, but that year there were 9.
But that year there were 9, yeah.
Sorry.
The first 10 minutes of Up.
Yeah.
Man.
Are so bad. That. They're so stupid.
No, I love it. It's
like a whole movie in and of itself.
It is, and that's another thing where you have no dialogue, but it's all emoting from characters interacting, and it's. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Yeah,
I feel like Up, that first 10 minutes was not for kids at all, because there's too much there that they can't even relate to.
How do you
yet.
explain that?
I mean, there's absolutely nothing there that they can truly grasp.
Yeah,
it's just pretty pictures flashing across the screen.
Mm-hmm. oh, that's nice.
And I'll be honest with you, that's WALL-E as well. Both of those, I mean, those sections, as much as we want to say, oh, the emotions were beautifully portrayed,
right?
The kids don't know that yet,
right?
I mean, at least I would say the average kid doesn't know half of them yet.
But imagine how awesome it's going to be for Sophie to watch Up. I don't know. Is she a fan of Up?
I don't know if she's seen that one yet.
Oh, okay.
So,
because I was going to say, like, how do you explain how his wife is gone? Like, imagine like a kid seeing Up and like being like, "Oh, this old guy has a bunch of balloons and stuff." And then, like in like 5 or 6 years, when they're a little older, maybe when they're teenagers or something, they're like, "Oh, hey, Up! I want to check this out. I loved it when I was a kid." And then they have this entirely different experience with it, and something that like they can grasp all the concepts, and it's just. Like, I kind of wish I was a kid for that reason, but
that's actually that's a real interesting. Like, I agree that makes sense. Even if that was completely lost on her now, she'll get to see it again, and it'll be a completely new movie.
Oh yeah,
I was mistaken. There were 10 nominees in that year.
Oh, okay.
So you were correct.
Shame.
I know it. I know, but that is the case. There doesn't have to be 10.
Right.
It's like how many of them get first place votes or something like that.
Yeah,
and so many movies don't.
It's a farce anyway. So
yeah, it is.
It's silly.
Yeah. It is. The whole thing.
So yeah, the first 10 minutes and also the last. I mean, I cry at a lot of Pixar movies.
Yeah,
I will admit to that. But I also, I mean, just what gets me like just chills and teary eyed is when. I mean, I guess statute of limitations is off on spoilers.
Yeah.
When he looks at the scrapbook and he goes through and sees all the empty pages and stuff, or it might be pages of their life together. But then like the end is he sees where she put like this is where my adventure book is, and she was like you were my adventure or something like that. Like that just gets me like. Just gets the tears going.
Tugs at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Yeah, it's just I love that. I love it. Or it was like thanks for the adventure or something like that. And it was just so touching and so well done. Pixar is just amazing at that kind of thing.
One interesting fact, I don't remember this fact exactly, but I know it involves the ethnicity of the little boy who's in the movie.
Right.
It's like I want to say it's like the first time that a major that a motion picture animated film depicts an Asian person or something like that.
Huh.
There's some kind of statistic involving the Asian ethnicity of the kid, and it was just an interesting choice they made. Something of note.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kind of stuck out to me. But yeah, it's a good movie.
I like that kid is like got to catch them all with his merit badges. Like,
yeah.
True.
That's funny.
Cool. Yeah.
Moving on?
I love it. Sure.
Yep.
There are 3 movies in movie history. Toy Story 3, also nominated for Best Picture in 2010. And I think it's my favorite of the Pixar movies.
Oh, wow.
It did, to me, exactly what they set out to do at the end of the movie. I'm not much of a crier at movies, and especially not Pixar movies, but that one puts the lump of cry in my throat.
Yeah.
The end of that movie. And I just love how it works out that it's 15 years later and that I'm 15 years older, and so is Andy. It's just brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little older than Andy was. I was older than Andy was when the movie came out. I had already graduated from college, and he's going off to college. But man, it still does it. It still does it for me.
Yeah.
I love the plotting of the movie. It's one of the most exciting movies in the Pixar canon, I guess. And it's good. I love Toy Story 3.
I love it too. And talking about crying, yeah, me too.
Do you weep? Like,
I
audibly?
Do. I audibly... I don't weep, but I mean, I tears... I don't do that, but like... Andy! I'll have like streams of tears. Every other thing, it's like, oh, I'll get like choked up or something. Like, I'll have like a single stream or whatever. But it's like just like waterworks. And the funny thing is that the first time I saw that was again in a theater by myself with like a family of kids, a family full of kids, like in the same row when we were at a matinee. They didn't need to stay in that row. So I felt it just really creepy. But it was a really good movie, and every time it gets me. And yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it like everyone else's opinions about it. But real quick, what is the toy that you guys thought of when you watched it? Because I thought of my old like little toy dinosaur that I carried around. It was a little T-Rex named him Mikey when I was a kid. Please tell me you guys had something else like that you thought about.
No, I'm still a toy collector though. Okay. I have a lot of toys from my childhood.
Okay.
I had an army guy that like crawled on his own, and he had a little red light, that LED that flashed at the end of his gun when he stopped.
Nice.
It disappeared.
Huh.
So I'm pretty sure my parents like threw it away.
Really?
Like when obviously I'm being a kid, not looking. Like it just. I mean, I remember exactly where I used to keep it, and it just like at some point it doesn't exist anymore. I have no clue what happened to it.
He got up and left.
I guess so.
I don't have one. I was never super attached to any of my toys like that.
Wow.
No. I loved my toys, but just...
You guys are weird. Did you guys have friends or something?
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, if parents would just teach their kids to be nicer to their toys, we wouldn't. They wouldn't have to go through this ordeal at the daycare.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. You're right.
So, everybody out there, teach your kids to respect the toys. Mm-hmm. Play with them nicely.
Yeah.
Be kind, tender.
Yep. Sing to them. You got a friend. You got a friend.
Jeez.
Awesome.
Yes. So yeah, great movie.
It is good. Moving on to Cars 2 in 2011. Back-to-back sequels.
Yep.
From Pixar.
Yep.
That's kind of when they started getting flack, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about Cars 2, to be honest.
I've never seen it.
I've seen it once.
I didn't like it at all.
Twice.
It's not bad, but it's not good.
It's
so
not.
like it's just there. I also though I can't just speak about Cars 2, and I have to speak about planes as well.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about planes.
I know that's not Pixar; it's Disney only, which is weird.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
But
I haven't seen it.
They didn't do any cameos. It's the same world, but no cameos.
Weird.
Sophie, the whole time. Where's Lightning McQueen? The whole time. All they needed was one cameo, and that movie would have been perfectly fine for anybody who loved cars. But they just completely ignore, even though there are cars. There are cars in planes.
Jeez.
But they just completely ignored them.
That's too bad.
Yeah,
it's
that
such
is
a
too bad.
weird. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't speak to it. But it's weird that the planes race. To me,
Well, they got to be cars. They got to race.
It's like
The fact that they talk is okay.
yeah. It's just if you have cars and you have cars that are race cars that have like these experiences and stuff, and you make a movie about planes.
What are planes going to do then?
I don't know. A family of planes.
Dogfight.
Yes, dogfight.
Like military
yes.
planes.
That could get dark really quick.
Yes.
But that's,
No, but like have like a family of planes like flying across the country.
Do they do like airspeed races, or is it like point A to point B?
They're doing speed race, or I think it's like more like agility. Because they've got those big inflatable wacky arm tube men type things that they're flying around. But
Okay.
you know what?
I need to see it.
I hijacked that, took planes, and like skipped over Cars 2.
Oh right, Cars 2.
But
That's fine.
Do you think Pixar started making planes and then like Dane Cook got on board and Pixar jumped ship?
Dane Cook.
I don't think so.
Nobody likes this. We made Toy Story 3 last year. Dane Cook.
Jeez. No, but Cars 2 was. I don't know. I appreciate what they did in terms of the characters, because they had kind of this arc for Mater, how he feels unappreciated and like kind of in Lightning's shadow, I guess. But it wasn't enough to sustain it, and the fact that they brought it into, they expanded the world to be this weird spy movie kind of thing.
Yeah, that was
international spy. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
It was really weird. And I don't know. It's my least favorite of the Pixar movies by far. Yeah.
I pretty much dismissed it after I saw it. I was like, I'll never see that again. I didn't like it.
Right.
Yeah. Only thing I liked was Michael Caine.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Christopher Nolan said you can always use a little bit of Michael Caine. That's why I use him in every movie.
I think in Cars 2 they also went really weird with the architecture. Like, I mean, I know you've got to have certain things for cars to be able to go up steps and have these different levels and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, it just in Cars 1, I felt like it was all single-story buildings for the most part. You parked in a garage; they were all in garage type atmospheres.
Yeah.
In Cars 2, they're like in. I mean,
skyscrapers.
And things like that. And that was odd. Like,
how does a car hold a welding torch?
Logistically, this isn't going to work.
Yeah,
maybe they had help from the planes.
Yeah,
maybe
we had helicopters helping, and
that's weird. Yeah, how does a car have the dexterity to work a welding torch to build a skyscraper?
Right.
Yeah,
and it's got to be one heck of a. I mean, the I-beams and everything to be holding all these cars up into the air. That's a good point. If there are any architects out there, logistically, please draw up some plans for us. What kind of materials are necessary?
Yes. And any OBGYNs, I'm still curious about how they reproduce.
God. Now it's creepy.
Now it is.
Even more creepy.
So yeah, Cars 2.
The year is 2012. Everybody's worried about the end of the world, and Pixar said, I don't know what I'm talking about. Brave came out in 2012.
Yeah.
And I think unjustly won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature because Wreck-It Ralph was the animated movie of the year for me that year.
Me too.
I'm gonna drop a bomb here. I agree.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever seen Matt go against Pixar.
I know.
Yep.
I know. It's
Wreck-It Ralph was so good.
Oh, such a great movie.
So good.
Yeah.
You know, I found there was an article online somewhere. I'll dig it up and I'll put it in the show notes as always. But there was an article that said basically they posited the theory that Disney and Pixar switched for 2012, saying that Brave was a Disney movie and Wreck-It Ralph was a Pixar movie.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Disney Princess.
Yeah, Disney Princess. That was when Disney Animation Studios they're doing their own thing. They want to do they're doing their own original movies and all that, or they're. I mean, Disney has always done it, but they're kind of breaking into this kind of market, I guess, this new world. So as a solid to them, maybe Pixar was just like, hey, we got this idea for this video game character. Because, I mean, it just matches up. I mean...
It really does.
Yeah, and it's weird that
that's a heck of a theory.
Yeah. It's just weird that it happened the same year, that they just switched. Because Disney Princess, a person in a world that's adjacent to humans.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I loved Wreck-It Ralph. I also loved Brave. Playing the dad card again. For Sophie, she's going to, when she is of the age to be able to decide what she's going to love Brave.
Yeah.
She had, it's just, the princess who, I guess this is more or less the same with all the princess type movies, but the princess who wants to be a warrior, it's just, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madagascar 3, Brave, and Wreck-It Ralph. Which do you think is the highest grosser?
Ooh.
Brave.
You say Brave?
Brave.
Rob says Brave.
Probably Madagascar because it's a sequel.
You say Madagascar 3?
You know what? I'm going to go with Wreck-It Ralph.
Okay. Madagascar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Brave was number 2 and Wreck-It Ralph was number 3.
I was going to put Brave up there because I guess the moms, taking their kids.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the sequelness.
Yeah.
Brand recognition.
Yeah.
Right.
$746 million.
Oh my gosh. I've never seen any of the Madagascar movies.
They're okay. I've seen the first two. They're cute.
Never seen them.
Didn't see the third one. I'm not surprised. that it won. I am a little surprised that Wreck-It Ralph did not gross more than Brave.
Yeah,
me too.
I thought word of mouth would catch on. But as Brave, going back to Brave, it was a fine movie, but it was the first Pixar movie to have a female protagonist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I just thought that the world wasn't really built that well for me. And it was kind of this world, like, Pixar is known for building these worlds like Bug's Life, Toy Story, like these universes that are just so unique and strange. But this was like, okay, I've seen this kind of fantasy element or fantasy thing in like all the time.
I haven't seen it yet, so
okay.
I can't really say much about it.
I haven't seen it.
I don't know what it is, but it's like you might actually like it because there's some good voice acting. Kelly MacDonald is the voice of the main.
Right.
I think it's Merida.
Is it actually
Merida?
Okay.
Is it set in Scotland?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because I knew they use Scottish.
Yeah, because there's a couple families competing, I guess.
Clans.
Right.
Clans, yeah.
Right?
Clans,
Yeah.
yep.
Well, in How to Train Your Dragon, which that's not Pixar, but a lot of the characters use Scottish accents in that, but it's set in Iceland or something like that. It just doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah.
How to Train Your
awesome.
Dragon is a good movie.
Oh, it's a great movie.
I need to
love
watch
it.
that again.
Another example of an emoting character.
Yeah.
That doesn't have any dialogue.
Yep. You might. This is just a small tangent, but you might like an element of Brave because it reminded me of Wizarding Glass, the fourth The Dark Tower book.
Oh, nice.
It's a weird. There's a witch in it, but yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So good for Brave. It won an award.
Good job.
We've yet to see what will be of the last, or I guess the most recent of the Pixar movies. We've come to the end, guys.
Right.
Wow.
Monsters University was released this
Yes.
summer. I freaking love that movie.
I held out on watching it until I bought it.
Really?
I did. I was not. It wasn't necessarily a conscious effort by me, but I wanted to see it in the theater, and I just never got around to it. Then I bought it on Blu-ray because Pixar, but I was kind of hesitant because like they've announced that they were going to do all these sequels and stuff, but I just felt like I didn't want to sully the universe of Monsters Inc. by having this back. This
You said Sully.
Was that intentional?
No, it wasn't. Oh wow!
He said it like without a smirk, and I was like, "Does he know?"
It's not like Matt to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, sorry. No, I didn't want them to Mike Wazowski the but they did. They added elements to the universe that was just so charming and so creative.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved the themes about like Mike wants to be a scarer, but he can't, or he's just not. It's not in his wheelhouse, and it's about coming to terms with, like, you're not you can't be whatever you want to be. You have to be within reason, but you can find what you're good at, and you can
Make it your own.
Yeah.
Totally.
I like the Monsters universe, but I do feel like there's a slight disconnect between the characters that carry over. Like I made them. With Sophie watching,
Like the
them,
characterizations of Mike and Sully.
the way they act as
Sure.
college students, and I know obviously your world's different when you get into the real world and all that,
Right.
But you're not that different. Like it almost if you watch University and then watch, which I did, they don't quite the story or the way they act doesn't quite match. They don't end quite like there's definitely something traumatic that happens in between these two worlds that changes them slightly. And I don't know how else to explain it. It just, to me, they don't feel like the same people. I can see them, but they don't feel like the same people.
I don't know if I really picked up on that. That's a good point, though.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, I liked it too. It was good, but I don't think that by the end of it, maybe this is kind of what Robbie was getting at, but I don't think they quite, by the end of it, I don't think they had quite established the chemistry between Billy Crystal and John Goodman.
I could say that. I can agree with that. Like I revealed earlier, I haven't seen Monsters Monsters Inc. But I agree. Like I started to think about it, and I have yet to see Monsters Inc. since Monsters University, and I was like, is it a rivalry in the first movie? You know, but they're not, right? They're like best buds.
Yeah, and the first one, they're like it feels like Billy Crystal and John Goodman were old friends who've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
That's how it feels, and maybe that's the writing as well. I don't know, but it was just brilliant the way they were so close in the first one. And by the end, I figured by the end of the Monsters University, they should have been close to that.
Yeah,
but it just wasn't quite there for me.
Yeah,
but I did like it though. It was fun.
It was good.
Maybe they're leaving it open for Monsters awkward between adulthood university phase where you're living back at home with your mom for a couple years. And then
Where it's Randall? He's the one that changes.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi.
He's going bad at the end of college, but something makes him evil between college and Monsters Inc.
Yeah,
he's super
living
bad.
at home with mom. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it a lot. It didn't make my top 10 of the year, but I think it might have been my top 15 at least.
Yeah, it was like my number 11 or 12.
Number 11?
Yeah.
No, you said Fruitvale was your number 11.
I think Fruitvale was 12.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to refer to the other episode.
Right. Which you can find at ovpodcast.com.
Is that all of them?
That's it. Other than digital shorts.
Oh yeah.
Just a
quick
Favorite digital short? Go around the table.
I haven't seen hardly any of them. But
Yeah, same here.
I watched like 6 this morning with Sophie, which, by the way, she's good with digital shorts for the most part.
Yeah.
La Luna.
I have seen that one.
Amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, every aspect of it, how the moon is in theory changing because these guys' jobs is to wane and wax the moon. I mean, and how the boy sees what his dad wants him to be and sees what his grandpa wants him to be, and then he's like, nope, I'm going to do what I want to do. I mean, it's
just it's amazing storytelling in such a small amount of time.
Yeah.
It's really, really clever.
I like Presto. It came out on the Wally DVD or Blu-ray. DVD. Nobody has DVDs anymore.
On the Wally Laserdisc.
La Luna was with Brave.
It was?
Yeah.
Cool.
I saw Presto before, it played before the movie in the theater. I thought it's amazing.
I guess Presto played before Wally too. I just didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't see it in theaters. 2014 has no Pixar.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, wow.
Nothing Pixar in 2014.
Yep.
That's their first year off in a long time, since 2005.
Wow.
First time they've taken a year off since 2005. And then, of course, Finding Dory is kind of the big one that everybody's talking about in 2016.
Yeah.
The next one is Inside Out
Which that sounds like it'll be pretty cool.
in 2015.
It's about the world inside a little girl's brain or a little girl's body or something like that. And then there's also the dinosaur movie. I think the dinosaur movie was supposed to come out
The Good Dinosaur.
this year. The Good Dinosaur.
It is. The Good Dinosaur is November. Inside Out is June.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's next year.
Next year, 2015.
I think because the Good Dinosaur was supposed to come out this year, right? Or
Oh,
maybe it
okay.
was- but then they pushed it back. But I'm really looking forward to that because, like I said, Mikey had a toy dinosaur named Mikey. So I like
Named after
dinosaurs.
me.
Yes.
Well, I guess that does it, huh?
I think it does. I mean, we're gonna probably do Potpourri. We've been recording a long time.
We have been recording for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, one more mention. Alma again.
Oh, yeah.
Watch Alma. It's creepy, just
Nice.
terrifying.
You got it.
I'm not a big fan of dolls, so I mean, just,
Nice.
Rob, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. It was great having you.
thank
For
you.
joining us
This
today.
was interesting.
Yeah. You had a lot of good stuff to say.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
I liked it a lot.
All right, listeners, this is the time of the episode where we get to our potpourri section, where we can talk about anything we want, something we're looking forward to coming up, or something we watched recently, news, whatever we want, as long as it smells good. So, Matt, did you want to go ahead and go first?
Yeah. This is kind of different from the main discussion, but last night I went and saw Lone Survivor. which is a movie that I was really looking forward to, and you can find my full review online at obsessiveviewer.com. But I had a hard time picking out I had a hard time coming to terms with the movie, I guess, because I went into it expecting like a heartfelt kind of military action thing about these four guys who share a bond and everything, but there was a lot of issues I took from it, and it was kind of just a strange kind of movie experience for me, because we had these situations in the movie. Like I'd heard whispers about it being embellished or like the original story that Marcus Luttrell told about what happened, because it's about the failed mission that he was the lone survivor from. I've heard varying degrees of whispers of it being embellished, of it being a complete fabrication, all kinds of stuff from even some fairly reputable sources, I would say, from third hand, but still. But it was an interesting experience, because almost none of the big emotional hooks or anything really did anything for me. Like, they didn't elicit a response on me. I was almost bored watching it. Which is something I wasn't expecting, because I'm a big Peter Berg fan. I love Friday Night Lights and Friday Night Lights and The Kingdom, and I was excited for him to do this, because I thought that it would be like a really great experience. But I watched it kind of similar to the way that I watched 127 Hours, which is another true account of a guy overcoming this horrible experience and being a better person. So I contrasted that with Lone Survivor and 127 Hours, and what I realized was that there's no real emotional journey for Luttrell in the movie.
It's true.
Yeah, and I know, Tiny, I know you saw it, so what was your take on it? Because I thought it just fell flat on a lot of areas.
I agree with that, and it's such a movie it hinges so importantly on the camaraderie between the four soldiers, the four SEALs who get sent on this mission, but I just didn't feel it like I feel like I should have.
Me neither.
It just really wasn't. I mean, there was some of it was kind of good, but it wasn't as good as other camaraderie I had seen,
right.
With just any number of war films. It just wasn't there. And then I took huge issue with, well, not a huge issue, but it kind of bothered me how convenient some of it was, or it just. Yeah. Some of it seems very fabricated to me. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It just seems like kind of a made up story, which is a terrible thing to say. If it's true, it's definitely plausible. Like it's possible. I could definitely see it happening. It's just it seems very unlikely to me.
Right. And there was no. I mean, obviously, spoiler alert. A majority of the SEALs die.
Right.
Except for the one, because it's right in the title, but. I mean, I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel... And what bothered me most about it was that Marcus Luttrell in the like behind the scenes featurettes and stuff that play before movies in theaters and stuff, like kind of like Regal Cinema things or AMC theater things, but they had him and he's like, I want to honor their story. I want to honor what happened to them and everything. And all I'm thinking is, it's a horrible thing to say it's a horrible thing to say, but I don't think that they did. Because, I mean, we get like some kind of... We get bits and pieces about each of them. Things like, oh, he has a wife who is redecorating the house, and his fiance wants a horse. Like little things like that, but it didn't really resonate through the rest of the movie. It wasn't enough for that.
Right.
So
I agree.
I don't know. So it was kind of a lackluster theater experience. You can read my full review on the website, which I'm still in the process of writing at the time of this recording, so I'm not sure how it shakes out. But
he's literally typing it and speaking at the same time. It's freaky.
Yes. So it was an interesting experience. What do you got, Mike?
I want to talk about a movie I watched recently, The Bling Ring. I don't know if you guys heard of it.
I've seen it.
You saw it?
Yeah.
Sofia Coppola directed it, wrote it. It's based on these teenagers who broke into famous people's houses.
Based on an article.
Based on an article in Vanity Fair, yeah. The movie was not bad, but I hated the characters so much.
Epically hated them.
Epically hated. And it brought up something in me, and I'm actually working on an article in this.
Nice.
So many things in recent years, and especially in 2013, have asked us to root for anti-heroes. Of course, Don Draper and Mad Men, Walter White, all kinds of people, anti-heroes. But something about them is redeeming. Yeah. Something about them gives us the hero aspect, and we root for these people. I really, really could not wait to see these kids get arrested. They were awful human beings. And I just wondered to myself, why am I watching this movie? What's entertaining about this? It was well made, and it did what it was supposed to do. The characters felt real, but disappointingly and disgustingly real.
Yeah.
Right? That there are people. It made me so glad that I live in the Midwest and not in California, where people like this exist. And I even see teenagers, to a lesser extent, in the Midwest that are like this. But these girls and this one male, this one guy, are despicable human beings.
Absolutely.
And it was hard to watch, and I was just so angry all the time. And it was almost like I was subjecting myself to this movie. Mm-hmm. And I can't exactly put my finger on how I'm supposed to feel. Yeah. I mean, is it a commentary on these people? Of course it is. Of course it is. But certainly there are people who are like, oh, that's an awesome idea. We should do that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I found myself wondering why the characters were friends with each other.
Yeah.
Because they don't seem to, support each other in things or be, friendly. They don't seem friendly at all. It's like, why... They're just, like you said, they're just so terrible. Why do they even hang out with each other? I don't know. It was really, 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 really shallow film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a movie where the protagonist has been more evil than that. Mm-hmm. I can't think of a movie. And I'm talking like Rob Zombie's Halloween, where the protagonist was Michael Myers, and while he did evil things and horrific things, you got the backstory, and there was almost a little bit that made you feel bad for him.
Right.
It's kind of one of the reasons I didn't like the Rob Zombie version. Right. But I can't compare this. I can't compare the Bling Ring to another movie where the protagonist is just awful.
Huh.
Yeah.
Protagonists are awful.
And I'll say I did like Emma Watson's performance a lot, though. I thought it was funny to see her in that kind of role.
Yep.
After, a decade of Hermione.
Yeah.
And then just like one or two other movies. We haven't seen her do much, but she really stretched her acting legs in this. I was impressed. And
I think she had trouble with the accent one or two times.
Maybe a little bit.
That I could call out.
But she was really funny in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the one bright spot of it. But
yeah.
Is it played up as a comedy or
no? It's not. No,
okay.
No. Not at all.
Well, there's a couple lines that are, I think, blatantly
just
comedic.
Comic relief.
Like over the top.
But they're comedic because that's how comedic they were in real life.
Yeah.
It's actual dialogue from,
Huh. Yeah. Robbie, our guest.
Well, I guess this popcorn thing is a little more difficult for me than it is you guys. You guys got this stuff down.
Yeah.
But as I guess maybe late to the game as it is, I can't wait to bring Star Wars back.
Oh, really?
I cannot wait
Me too,
for that
actually.
to be part of daily conversation again.
Yeah.
I mean...
That's a good way to put that. Disney, could they mess it up really bad? I mean, they really could just completely fumble. But I don't think they will. I think even if the ball is already on the field, though.
Yeah.
It's already been fumbled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The worst Disney could do is fall on it.
Well, and I was actually just, while you guys were talking, reading up some more things about like there potentially a way, not part of the trilogy being other stories from that world that are told movie form and whatnot. And I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would love a Star Wars movie every year for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Gladly.
Yeah.
Interesting. Did you see the news they announced for it this week? that apparently Jesse Plemons is up for like the main role.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, from Friday Night Lights and
Breaking
Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Meth Damon.
Meth Damon.
Yeah.
Also, a very small role in Battleship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie.
That's true. But yeah, we here at Obsessive Viewer have talked about Star Wars coming back. We haven't really done a Star Wars episode or anything, but it's pretty unanimous that people are excited.
Yeah.
Nobody is like, oh my god, why in the world? There's hesitation from everybody.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But I think everybody's like, if anybody's going to do it, it's Disney and J.J. Abrams.
And being a Disney princess now, we got she's Leia's mainstream. Like,
right.
If you know, I mean, so I can't. I don't even know what to say. It's just I'm excited.
Yeah,
me too. I try not to think about it.
It'll be interesting coming from someone who's not really a big Star Wars fan, but has grown to appreciate it for what I appreciate it for. Just a fun action adventure series.
Yep, that's all it is.
I want to live in that world. Like,
oh yeah,
so badly.
Yeah. I did in my childhood.
I don't even have to be a Jedi. I just want to live there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, agreed.
This is a bad joke. I want to live there and, rewrite it. No, but I'm looking forward to it. As someone who's not a big Star Wars fan, I'm kind of curious to see what they do, because I love J.J. Abrams. I love what Disney did with Marvel's universe. Mm-hmm. Less a few entries in the movies, but I'm really curious what they've got in store, and I think it could be really good.
Mm-hmm. And there were some dark aspects to it, but they can go a lot darker than they ever even thought about.
Yeah. I hope they do.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's one thing that will make me love Star Wars, I think, is if they go really dark and they get really
well. They never need any blood and guts, like. Because everything gets carterized in that movie. Whole, but yeah,
that's true.
That's really all I've got for popcorn.
Cool.
So, Tiny?
Mine is actually some news. I feel like Mike is the guy who always brings up news, which is cool, because I think we kind of need more of that in the podcast. But my favorite show, I've said it before, is The Daily Show. I watch it all the time. Love watching it. And before Christmas, they announced... Their last episode before Christmas, they announced that John Oliver is leaving The Daily Show.
Yeah.
Which shocked the hell out of me, because I've heard him say before that he never wants to leave. I think I'm pretty much positive that what happened is he so successfully led the show over the summer while Jon Stewart was gone. That he made a huge name for himself, and so he had an idea for a show, and he felt confident enough to pitch it, and so I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah.
Which I don't have a problem with that or anything.
Right.
But it's bittersweet. It's a really bittersweet thing that he's leaving something that I've connected with him so deeply. He's been on there for like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
But it's nice that he's going to do his own thing. He's a great personality. I think he's going to be awesome for. Hosting his own thing. He also kind of poached, I guess, the lead writer for The Daily Show as well. But it seems like everybody's in good spirits about it. So
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
Have they discussed it since they've been back?
I don't think they haven't really mentioned it, and there's not many details about what the John Oliver show is going to be like. It's going to be on HBO, which is also encouraging.
Right.
But there's not, as far as I know, they haven't really said what it's really going to be.
Okay.
I assume it'll be political, but
nice.
It's really to the credit of The Daily Show. That Colbert is so popular.
Yeah.
And that John Oliver is striking out as. I guess I'm kind of counting the eggs before they hatch. Counting chickens before they hatch? I don't know why they said that. We've been podcasting for a long time today.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll see what happens. But it is, you're justified in calling The Daily Show your favorite show, because clearly quality comes from quality.
And their correspondents that have left has gotten so successful.
Right.
Steve Carell and Rob Corddry.
Right.
And Rob Riggle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's my potpourri.
It'll be interesting to see what John Oliver does.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That does it for this episode of the Obsessive Viewer podcast. Thanks for listening. I'm Matt. You can find me at Obsessive Viewer. Mike is at I am Mike White, and Tiny is at Obsessive Tiny. You know, as always, find us on the blog at obsessiveviewer.com, where you can find a ton of good content that we post fairly regularly. You can also email us any comments, suggestions, critiques, feedback, things you want us to discuss, or audio clips you want us to include of your discussion or your reviews to ovpodcast@gmail.com. And like the blog on Facebook, Google+, all that stuff. That about does it. Also vote for us for Podcast of the Month at podcastland.com. And that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
Be kind.
Thanks for
Rewind.
Nice.
He has a kid, and when Amanda and I have a kid, we're talking about like perpetuating the idea that the world did end in 2012, but not so like there were 12 billion people in 2012 until the end of days happened, and then half the world's population was killed.
Yeah.
Or a quarter of them were killed, a quarter left, and then there's 6 billion of us left. And just like showing pictures and like, this was your Uncle Steve, and we don't talk about him a whole lot because it's kind of sad the way he went.
Yeah.
That's pretty weird.
It's weird, but so awesome.
I know.
Yeah, it is.
And show like the movie 2012 like a documentary.
Oh, wow.
And there's so much undocumented about that time because it was just such disarray.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I mean, we're just trying to pick up the pieces still.
Nice.